Today we're doing a bit of a different video. We're putting up the iPhone 17 Pro Max up against the iPhone 5. These phones are 13 years apart. They share a lot of similarities, but at the same time, these phones are very different as well. So yeah, let's take a look at both of these devices, guys, from a hardware, a software, as well as a what's included in the box perspective. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Apple was a very generous company. When you put up the 17 Pro Max box up against the iPhone 5. This thing here is upside down, but let's go ahead and just quickly open this up and see what we got in the box. Starting with the 17 Pro Max here, I mean, we had our pull tab, which I think Apple started including quite recently, as well as the charging cable, which I've already removed, and the actual little peel for the screen. Other than that, there is nothing else in this box, and you can even see just how thin this quick start guide is. There are no Apple stickers either. But putting this up against the iPhone 5, for example, you guys can see Apple included a dedicated little plastic shell to house your iPhone so it didn't move around inside the box, as well as this quick start guide booklet. This included the SIM card ejector, your Apple stickers, as well as your quick start guide. And when you put it up against the 17 Pro Max, you can just see how much more thicker this thing was. So kudos to Apple for cutting it down so much. You know, I'm sure this is all part of their green mission and, you know, reducing all this extra space and cutting costs. But this is just a reminder that once upon a time, Apple included a lot of accessories. You know, we had our standard USB to Lightning port right here, the actual plug, as well as ear pods. So these were included in a nice little traveling case as well. Although I don't think most people actually use this case because it was kind of hard to put them back inside once you took them out. But now taking a look at the hardware of both of these iPhones, you'll notice that the 17 Pro Max and the iPhone 5 both have that two-tone color as well, with that white and silver. Same with the iPhone 5 right here. And both of these phones are also made out of aluminum, with the 17 Pro Max having an entire aluminum unibody. This is the only portion here that is made out of glass, whereas the iPhone 5 here has aluminum kind of extending all throughout the sides, as well as in the middle right here, but the top and bottom are made out of glass. And I think that this is just design language that is carried on over many years, and you know, it's cool to see that Apple has brought back some aspects of it to their Pro model iPhones. But that's not to say that this is the first time that Apple has changed the material. Apple has experimented a lot, right? With the iPhone 4S, for example, this phone was made with a stainless steel housing all across the sides with glass on the back, of course. But with the iPhone 5, they switched over to a hybrid of both aluminum and glass, which just looked absolutely beautiful. It also had the chamfered edges there as well, which kind of curved at an angle. When you put these phones side by side, you just realize so much has changed over the last 13 years. I mean, the iPhone 5 was all about having a thinner smartphone, but also being taller as well. Back in the day with the iPhone 4S, you can see that the screen was much smaller. But with the iPhone 5 here, they actually increased the height of the phone so you could include an additional row of apps, which was a very big deal back in the day. And you know, this was Apple's flagship smartphone. It retailed for $649 off contract. And now with the 17 Pro Max, this phone is almost double the price when you buy it outright. And you know, the 17 Pro Max isn't really all about having a thin form factor. This phone is chunky, it's thick. It has that vapor chamber cooling as well. So these phones both feature very different characteristics and, you know, target very different audiences. And we have to remember that this was the only iPhone that Apple offered when the iPhone 5 came out. And so people were willing to pay $650 for all the features because that's what people valued. But with the 17 Pro Max, it's interesting to see that, you know, phones have slowly gotten a little bit thicker. And the Pro model in particular now is kind of more unified. It looks a lot more like the MacBook, the Apple Watch Ultra, and I'm honestly here for it. I think both of these phones really just show Apple's evolution, and I'm curious to see what the next 13 years of iPhone will look like. But real quick, in terms of software, you can see that the iPhone 5 is running iOS 6 with that slide to unlock, and we have iOS 26 on the iPhone 17 Pro Max here. But yeah, I mean, this was the skeuomorphism era. As a lot of you guys may call it, it was just snappy. You know, things just opened up right away. It was a very quick experience and it just felt very smooth and fluid. iOS 6 was just snappy, man. It was all about just having a fast and snappy experience. So I definitely do miss that quite a bit. And another thing I want to show you guys here is we actually had no control center in iOS 6. You had to double tap. This was your app switcher, but if you wanted to, you know, change up your music, you could technically do that here. you had very limited options compared to what we have today with iOS 26. But yeah, guys, I think it's really cool to be able to look back at both of these iPhones every once in a while. You know, Apple has obviously made a lot of hardware changes as well as software changes as well. But when you put them side by side, you soon realize that some things just never change. You know, if something has worked well for Apple in the previous years, it just carries over into future iPhone models. But this is definitely very nice to see. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to see more videos just like these, be sure to comment down below, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.